So now that we've shown you the Hunter Biden scandal has finally been revealed after years of denial by the mainstream media, I want to take a moment to show you how the denial from the mainstream media correlates to the denial of everyday society when it comes to a scandal like this. And how there's people all over the place now that are taking this in and are now doing mental gymnastics. They're twisting their logic or putting themselves into a pretzel to confirm that it's okay to be to have a scandal or to be corrupted or to be nefarious, as long as you're nefarious for the right side, for the side that they're most favorable of, which is downright insane. It's downright cultist and it's downright biased. And that's what you're seeing throughout all of this. So all of the stuff about Hunter Biden, all the scandals about the Democratic Party, you see it constantly in the Twitterverses, you see it in social media, you see it all over the place, how people will twist themselves into a pretzel to protect their party. To protect their party, to say that one side is corrupted than the other side, even though they have to come to realize that you're talking about one side of the exact same coin. You're talking about one side of the exact same bird. Left wing or right wing, you're still part of the same bird. And it's corrupted, it's evil, it's an oligarchical bird that's there to oppress you and not there to serve you. And people have not come to realize that. And they're still not realizing that. They still think that somehow after all this, after Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, all the nefarious stuff that they've done, that somehow voting blue no matter who is somehow the end result of all the corruption after everything that's been exposed, that somehow voting blue no matter who is going to save you because the Republicans are bad. And I'm not giving the Republicans any, gratitude or any better off than the Democrats. Again, you're talking about the same side of the same coin. They're both pro-war, they're both pro-Wall Street, and they're both there to oppress working class people. So, for example here, so this guy here, this is Sam Harris, that he's been on a lot of podcasts. He's supposed to be this intellect that he gets invited on, and I'm sure that he can, do circles around me in a game of Jeopardy or something. I'm sure he has an amazing IQ. The problem is, it doesn't matter how smart you are intellectually, when you don't have the courage to apply that knowledge into something courageous, it's pretty much useless. And that's what I'm seeing with Sam Harris. He's a very smart guy. I'm sure if we played a game of Trivial Pursuit, he can outbeat me because he's such an intellect. But even so, with that knowledge, with that power, he's still a coward. He's still a coward because he's not willing to apply himself to something courageous, using his knowledge for good benefit and trying to use it for his own narcissistic games. And you're about to see here how he's trying to twist himself in his own logic to protect the Hunter Biden story and the Democratic Party. And again, a smart guy like him would know that the Democratic Party is just as evil and nefarious as the Republican Party, and that's why we're part of this duopoly, this oligarchy that could not care less about the ordinary citizen and why we need to get out of this system. A smart guy would know something like that, and he definitely knows that, but he's too much of a coward. He's too much of a political insider to be courageous with his knowledge. That's the problem with people like Sam Harris here. And he talks so softly, though. He talks so softly, so he sounds like a smarty pants. But as you're about to see here, that's not the case.
Hunter Biden, at that point, Hunter Biden literally could have had the corpses of children in his basement I would not have cared, right? It's like there's nothing. First of all, it's Hunter Biden, right? It's not Joe Biden, but even if whatever scope of Joe Biden's corruption is, like if we could just go down that rabbit hole endlessly and understand that he's getting kickbacks from Hunter Biden's deals in Ukraine or wherever else, right, or China, it is infinitesimal compared to the corruption we know Trump is involved in. It's like a firefly to the sun, right? I mean, like there's just it doesn't even stack up against Trump University, right?
Let me just say this for the record. There's a lot of corruption that I could say about Trump. There's a lot of corruption I could say about the Trump family. It's no different than any political dynasty. I mean, you're talking about a sleazy real estate agent, if you will. That's who Donald Trump really is. He's a sleazy real estate agent who became a TV tycoon, reality star. He bought his way into the main light, and then he became a politician, got elected in politics because people were that desperate. There's a lot to be said about Trump. But to excuse everything that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all the deals because you believe Trump University is worse than having lucrative business deals being paid off by other countries is downright insane. And I know that I'm dumber than Sam Harris, but I feel smart enough to understand how stupid you're sounding right now. That you're defending Hunter Biden's corruption and Joe Biden and the entire Democratic orchestration, the Democratic Party and all their corruption because of Trump University? Because some people applied to a business office in Florida? Which, by the way, he's probably only angry because it's Trump University. If Trump didn't have his name on that said place, I don't think it'd bother to be mentioned. But because Trump got into politics and wrinkled people's brain and woke up the lizard side in them, I can't believe I said that. I sound very Alex Jones here. Oh my God. The lizard brain inside of people. It triggered people. But that's literally what happened. Trump got into politics and it triggered people. It triggered people to think that they're traumatized by the fact that Donald Trump became the president, got into politics, is now the commander, became the commander-in-chief, and everything that Trump has done is so evil, but anybody else who's done far worse or the exact same as Trump is somehow beneficial. This is what I mean. Sam Harris may be a smart-sounding guy because he talks slow and he sounds like this. He can definitely get a job at NPR. He can definitely get a job in public radio because he talks so softly and is able to use big, giant words. But he's still a cowardice idiot because he's not using his knowledge to apply himself to something courageous.
The Trump University as a story is worse than anything that could be in Hunter Biden's laptop, in my view, right? Now, that doesn't answer the people who say it's still...
I don't know what's worse, a fake degree that's pretty much a scam, which there's a lot of friggin' scams in the world, or a politician being paid off by a corrupted country that wants to get us into nuclear war. I don't know. Let's play that. What is worse? What is worse? Sam Harris would like to believe that getting a fake university being scanned by a sleazy con artist is far worse than nuclear war. It's far worse than a business deal with a corrupted country. It's far worse. It's so far worse that I can't believe we're even talking about the Biden corruption. Like, why even mentioning about that? It's so unspeakable. It's despicable.
Still completely unfair to not have looked at the laptop in a timely way and to have shut down the New York Post's Twitter account. Like that's just a conspiracy. That's a left-wing conspiracy to deny the presidency to Donald Trump. Absolutely, it was. Absolutely, right. But I think it was warranted, right? And again, it's a coin toss as to whether or not
Sam, I'm sorry.
that particular piece.
I'm really sorry. I was the one that said we should move on, but you've just said something I really struggle with there, which is
the kids in the basement.
Fuck the kids in the basement. I'm interested in democracy. You're saying you are content with a left-wing conspiracy to prevent somebody being democratically re-elected as president.
Well, no, I'm content. Well, but the thing is, it's just not left wing, right? So Liz Cheney is not left wing, right? Liz Cheney is doing everything in her power.
You're content with a conspiracy to prevent somebody being democratically elected.
But there's nothing conspiracy. It's not. It was a conspiracy out in the open. But it doesn't matter if it was. It doesn't matter what part's conspiracy.
It doesn't matter if we weren't being democratic. I mean, this is America. After all, I mean, you look at Muslim countries. That's another thing about Sam Harris. He rails against religious institutions of Muslim or Hinduism or anything like that, and says that they're, chaotic and they're going on these killing sprees and they have hatred in their hearts and how evil and maniacal they are and how corrupted they are for them to go and mass murder people on the regular, as opposed to Christians and Catholics and Jewish people and any other religious institution. In fact, it doesn't matter what religious institution. If you're part of an organized religion that is easily corruptible, it will get to that point. In fact, religion is the number one thing that's killing all human beings right now, because we are expected to believe a bunch of limericks and similes to manipulate our judgment, manipulate our minds to believe that killing someone in order for a sky god. And this is, again, Sam Harris. He's the intellect that could not care less. He's such a cowardly intellect because he will rail against, Muslims. He will go rail against brown people and black people of their faith, but then says nothing about, the Christian Crusades or the Catholics and their slayings or, what Israel is doing to Palestinians. So this is just how crazy this is. And the fact that a 20-something-year-old Canadian kid in his basement doing a shoestring podcast sounds more smart, not sounding more smarter, but is a little bit more smarter than Sam Harris. I feel a little smarter than Sam Harris right now, because at least I have courage to understand that that you look at the bigger picture. And that's what Sam Harris doesn't understand. He doesn't look at the big picture. He doesn't look at all the specter. He's just so narrow-minded on certain little things. Oh, the Muslims are doing the most killing. Oh, Trump University is the most corrupted thing imaginable. Oh, Trump getting into politics is bad. Oh, this is bad. Oh. It's like he's wearing those glasses that don't have peripheral vision.
What part's out in the open? I mean, I think it's like, if people get together and talk about what should we do about this phenomenon, if it's like, if there was an asteroid hurtling toward Earth, and we got in a room together with all of our friends and had a conversation about what we could do to deflect its course, right? Is that a conspiracy? Like some of.
And then what does he do? He changes the subject. As the guy's trying to bring up the point of, well, denying access for a democratic election is kind of criminal. It's not just a conspiracy. It's not just just a word of mouth. No, it's actually kind of criminal that we're silencing out a former president off of social media. It's kind of criminal that the FBI is doing raids on a former president's house. It's kind of criminal that we're denying people the access to a proper democracy because of it, because we're trying to protect an oligarchy. We're trying to protect the imperialistic empire. We're trying to protect the war machine. That's kind of criminally corrupted, and Sam Harris knows that, but he's too much of a coward pussy to admit that, which is why his intellect is basically useless. That's the problem here. That's what frustrates me with someone like Sam Harris. He may be a smart genius guy and has the high IQ and can say all the nice, long words of a dictionary. Probably sounds a lot smarter than me and my stupidity. But if you don't have the courage, to apply the knowledge to do something about it, what's the point of having that knowledge? Honest to God, what's the point of having that knowledge if you're not willing to be courageous to apply that to real world situations and look at the bigger picture? He's just so narrow-minded on certain little aspects that he doesn't understand what he's saying is the most dumbest thing imaginable. Saying that Trump University is worse being scanned by a reality star in a fake education institution that probably all other billionaires want to do in their lifetime is far worse than a political family that's orchestrating themselves with energy board sector jobs in other countries and getting paid millions and millions of dollars, funneling money from other countries and other corrupted institutions. And we're going to excuse the one side to demonize the other side. That's just so insane. So sociopathically insane. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or any reader of the mind, but just from stuff like this, or reading tweets, or reading the Blue Anon people, it is literally like a mental disease that these people are so deeply rooted in this political party spectrum, whether you're Democrat or Republican, or even here in Canada, if you're liberal or conservative, the people are so deeply rooted in political parties and cheerleading and rooting for their team and saying, you got to do this because the other side is evil. It is just so dangerously crazy that people will go into this trap, and it just shows how psychologically damaging it is for them, psychologically damaging. It exposes how narcissistic they are, how maniacal they are, how dumbfounded they are. And again, there's a lot of people, I'm sure they're nice individuals, I'm sure they're nice, pleasant, smart people, but this is just an example of what political corruption and, playing this, lesser two evils game gets you into. As opposed to someone like me that actually looks at the big picture and realizes that it doesn't matter what the face of democracy looks like or what the face of the institution is. The institution is still evil. It doesn't matter whether it's the blue coin or the red coin. It doesn't matter. You're still going to get corruption. You're still going to get pro-Wall Street. You're still going to get pro-wars. You're not going to get out of all the evil oppression that is bestowed on you, because it has been bought by corrupted corporations, globalistic tycoons that have bought out countries, for God's sakes. And how is it that I know that and I can speak about that, but Sam Harris, who uses big words and talks like he's on NPR, will not say a word about it? Like, it's sad. It really is sad.